Hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Today it's around 5 a.m. in Tokyo and it's 59 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 15.5 degrees Celsius. We got a 7-mile run. So let me pop you in my pocket. Well, I'm going to put you on my head actually. I'm putting my phone in my pocket and we'll get to work. I think I said it's 5, right? It's a pretty early start to the day. Not crazy early, but oops, I forgot to turn my run on. But sun's starting to come out earlier in Japan, which is kind of fun. That whole spring thing doing its thing, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so we gotta turn our run app on, get to work. Beginning our workout. Now, if we're focused and have good form and run safe, we should be able to do this. It's also my last run for a while because I get spayed and neutered tomorrow. That'll be fun. Actually, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I think it's a different process for animals than people. Let's walk to warm up. I'm already tired from this. Now we got, like every single run we ever do, our soreness is a little bit asymmetrical. Hey! Our soreness is a little bit asymmetrical. Hey, what's up? We're gonna run really far today. Did you see the Japan GP? What's a GP? Gross profit? Profitable country. So first thing I want to work on is just kind of easing into a run. Not being in a rush. I gotta remind myself, hey, we woke up at 3:50 this morning, got out here by 5, and if we run at our natural pace, we should be done around 6:45 and should be able to get back home in time to get the kids off to school. Felicia's got the baby. Everything's golden. There's no rush. F1 Grand Prix. No, I did not. Was it cool? I did watch, it's a movie. It had Christian Bale in it. I think Matt Damon. Who's the other guy? Was it Damon? Ford versus Ferrari. That was really cool. I actually want to do like a Pretentious Engineer long form content off of it, of like 15 things every engineer should learn from Ford versus Ferrari. But no, was it cool? I didn't even know there was a Grand Prix in Japan. That's super neat. But yeah, even watching Ford versus Ferrari, like, I had no idea that Le Mans was like a 24-hour race around the same track. Whew. Let's get to work, friends. Let's get to work. Here we go. It's always funny, like, literally every single long run. There's your thumbnail, by the way. Normally it was, I think I took it at like a perfect sunrise. Whew. But every single long run always starts with fear. Like from the moment I'm awake, I'm like, oh, my knee's a little wobbly. Oh, my hip feels kind of creaky. Oh, what if I can't get out early enough? I like start with all the like, oh no's. And then like, once I hit mile 2 or 2.5, I'm like, that's so silly, let's keep going. So fun. Worth getting up at 5 a.m. for. The run We're watching F1 Japan. Where in Japan is it? Like Tokyo? There's a cherry blossom. We're gonna pass a ton of them today and catch a sunrise. Still trying to lock in a natural pace. Certain things in my form still feel a little bit forced. One of which is just physically moving from A to B. It'd be much more better if we were just on the couch taking a nap, right? Let's see how far we can go. Suzuka. Where the heck is that? Suzuka. Is it like an actual F1 track? Or is it like countryside, like racing down roads? I might have to look up some highlights on YouTube, just because you got me curious now. Might be a good way to start my day. Come on. Still trying to find a rhythm here, friends. I haven't locked in a pace that I'm happy with, nor form. I'm kind of just like working through residual soreness. But the sun's coming up, so that's fun. I had 3 interviews last week, which is great. And I have a meeting with my executive sponsor tonight, meeting with head of Asia Pacific HR tomorrow, so really trying to broker a deal to keep my family in the region. We'll see what it takes to keep us here. I've been like praying and fasting, just like, come on God, get it done, because it really is like a unicorn job, like super rare possibilities of actually keeping us out here. Oh man. Very nice. Now, form and pace still isn't in a spot where I like it. We're not in Injuryville, but it is really asymmetric. It's kind of rushed. I want to walk to work it out, but we both know that's not really the solution. So I'm just kind of like trying to stretch and work through it as I go, but it's uncomfy. I am going to get some sleep. Excellent. I'm glad you got to see a couple cherry blossoms. There's more ahead. But your mom, you can catch up and watch the live tomorrow if you want. Get some good Z's. Rest, recover, keep changing the world. I'll just focus. Move all 300 pounds of man straight ahead, unwavering. Okay. We're with it. We're doing good. Little by little. Step by terrible step. Breathe. Gotta make sure we don't lose our rhythm on these stairs. Here we go. Actually, let's take the stairs as a gift. It allows us to kind of reset our form, tuck our core, squeeze our back, our booty, and tuck. Oh man, the blossoms are in perfect bloom. Let's go. We get all these sweet cherry blossoms to ourselves today. So nice. Nice little river. Pushing it. I haven't decided if our pace is too fast. It feels borderline. Because I'm like right on the edge of conversational. The other factor we got, which I mentioned earlier, we're in the middle of fasting. So the flow of energy in our body's a little different. So we'll see. Welcome to Tokyo. Now a lot of the cherry blossoms in this section are all like the white ones, which are still amazing. But there also are cherry blossoms that are like super pink. Both have their charm, and people will normally like set up little picnic blankets under these, hang out. I think it's called hanimatsu. I forgot the exact term, but like normally in the office they'll send like the most junior employee out, sometimes at the beginning of the day, to like lay out a whole bunch of tarps and blankets, get the best spot possible. And at the end of the day, the rest of the employees will all leave the office, maybe a little early, go pick up some bento boxes or treats to share, a couple beers, and they'll have like a big nomikai, which is just like a corporate drinking party right under the cherry blossoms. It's actually a really cool tradition. Oh man. Okay. So today we should pass a fair amount of them on this side. I don't know if we're gonna get any on the other side of the river, so we'll see. Now we're about a mile in.
things are starting to warm up a little bit. This run's still kicking my butt. I'm just sore, tired. I'm not hungry, but my energy's a little dipped. I've been fasting every day from like dawn until dusk. Coming from a faith context, like I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of interviews and hiring processes for roles that may keep my family in Japan, and just wanting to make sure I'm leading from a posture of humility and meekness. And if I get the job, there's no room for ego or pride in self. But I see it as a gift of grace to steward for however long the next role is. And I am praying for like the 2 to 3 year horizon. So we'll see. My wife loves that house. It's so interesting. With all the like, custom windows and stuff. I love concrete homes. They're so brutal. So functional. It's awesome. But our goal, friends, is to get to that city. That's Futaki Tamagawa. Actually, sorry. That's Tamagawa. Part of Kawasaki. Actually, I think it's just Kawasaki City. What the heck am I saying? We're only a mile in, so it's too early to get loopy. Crow! What you want? No one's talking in chat, so God's provided birds for me to yell at. Oh, and a lost shoe. I know that struggle. Having 4 kids. You know how many shoes we've left? Heck, even yesterday, we went to Yoyogi Park. It's like, not Yoyogi, where'd we go? Komazawa Park. It's a pretty cool place. We thought they'd have cherry blossoms, but honestly, it was a little light on the cherry blossom front. And we just kind of checking things out. And from A to B, we get to the first park. I look at my youngest daughter, Emiko. She's like almost 3. I was like, where the heck is your shoe? No shoe. Shoes were lost on the journey. She had 1 shoe. So while Felicia takes the 4 children to a mega park on her own, I retrace our steps, and I found not only the lost shoe, but also my wife's baseball mitt from high school that had popped out when I took the stroller over some rough terrain, some tree roots. So it's good that Emiko lost the shoe. Otherwise, we would have lost the shoe and a nostalgic baseball mitt. Oh my God, I'm dying. It's almost gooey packet time, so normally we hit it later, but I can tell from a reserve perspective, my body's like, hey, not sure if you're aware here, buddy, there's no reserves. You haven't been eating regularly. Would you like to eat something? So I'm gonna have a gooey packet. Oh, these things suck. Absolutely disgusting. All right, we're gonna do the orange flavored one because that should be the worst. Oh man, Oh man, I hate doing this while I run. Okay. I put my phone in my bucket. Bottoms up. Imported from the US. Why? I was like choking. So much wrong in that. So, if you've never experienced the joy of a gooey packet, it's like, how would I describe this thing? It's like cream cheese frosting. You know what, you're immediately like, oh, that sounds promising. Shut up. It's like cream cheese frosting, but way more chemicals. It's warm because it's in my pocket. That one's got like a mixture of like Tang or Sunny D. How is that, boss? So it's definitely disgusting in every way. But friends, if you're new here, welcome to DadBod, where I make fitness accessible to your average Joe, because my name's Joe. You know, so folks who are heavier set, because I'm 300 pounds, have pre-existing health conditions or prior injuries. For me, I have 2 compressed discs in my lower spine, which love to give my spinal cord a nice aggressive hug every morning. So I provide strength training and long distance running training for people that are trying to move and better themselves. Today we got 7 miles on the boundary between Tokyo and Kanagawa. So we'll cross that blue bridge, across a river dividing 2 states, and run into Kawasaki, Kanagawa. Japan doesn't use the word states, they use the word prefecture. So we're running from one prefecture to another. Ohayou gozaimasu. Gamaru. That's my happy runner bud. We're always out here making each other better. Oh, this trail's green with cherry blossoms. Now, I'm not gonna say our legs are dead, because we did some foam rolling, did some stretching, a little bit of Beat Saber, and some good strength work on Saturday. But they're not like perfectly fresh. Did a lot of walking yesterday. Walking's good for you. You do have to be mindful how it can ladder into your next day of activity. So I'm just out here plunking along little by little, really trying to keep my tailbone tucked, core tucked, back taut, Shoulders rolled down and back. Slight lean. Doing everything I can to keep my pace conversational, which is where we want it. Not that we're conversing. And then, although I know Lucius sometimes watches these after the fact, so hey Lucius, happy you're here, bud. This one's dedicated to you. Just like every workout. We're approaching 2 miles, which is about 3-ish kilometers. Still a pretty aggressive run today, so we'll see how things are tracking. I think pacing wise we're holding around 15s. Yeah, 15-minute miles. If we're trying to do 7 and we hold that, we're looking at a total hour 45 minutes plunking along, kicking butt. Breathing, wheezing, yelling. We'll see. I'm still working on a lot of asymmetries in my form and my posture. You can work with a little bit of it. Too much and you start tending towards injury, so just try to be mindful. On the long runs, you can allot a little bit of room for ego. A little bit. Like, you are gonna have to push through some things to do the longer days. But we always have to be mindful and safe and aware of our bodies and understand where our body's current capability or limits lie, and determine how far we press up towards those limits, or if we resolve to push beyond them, how far beyond, so that we're still building strength and endurance as opposed to building stress fractures and fragile ligaments, you know. Your body will happily push beyond the limit and then break. So you gotta be mindful of the process, aware of your body at all times. You gotta be here in the experience. You gotta know how each foot is lifting off the ground and landing. You gotta control the entire movement. Crow! Ohayou gozaimasu, Tori-san. That just means bird person, or Mr. Bird, Mrs. Bird. It's the honorific of bird. Now, we're pushing past 2 miles, so let's keep it going. Beautiful. Ohayou gozaimasu. It's my favorite train. Now, we gotta run past this to the Blue Bridge. That'll be 2.5 miles. Over the bridge and under that bridge. That'll be the 3-mile marker. And we gotta run past it to a flower field. That'll get us to 3.5. Once we get into 3.5 territory, that's the turnaround. And we just run it back. Half a mile at a time. So we're assuming our capability to get back. Which is faith. Every run requires some level of faith in your current capability that you can show up and challenge yourself. Oh, there's fish jumping this morning. How gozaimasu. There we go. See, we're almost at 2.5. And I've wanted to walk and stop this entire journey, and we don't know how the back end of this or feel. We don't know, you know, our feet, our ankles, our hips all hold up for the journey. Every run starts in a I don't know kind of posture. And while we can resolve to get up and get out and get it, there's always some level of uncertainty that we gotta navigate. And we're not all Goggins, okay? We gotta work within the confines of our current body and build towards new or enhanced capability over time. We need to have patience and persistence in the journey. Because if you rush it, you crash, you burn, you get injured, you're out for 2 to 8 weeks, and you gotta start over. And you loop that enough times, you're in big trouble. So, because you'll just stop. You'll say, you know what? This doesn't work for me. Well, we're not measuring the right indicators of progress. We get fixated on aesthetics. You know, maybe comparing ourselves to how we looked in college or high school. We gotta work with our middle-aged bodies of today. But how many push-ups can you do? How good was the form? How much can you row? Can you do that with good form? Can you wake up the next morning and still walk around without injury? Right? Like, can you pick up your kids, play a little bit of soccer with them? Getting winded? Like, those are all the things I measure, because I can see on every single one of them. But I'm on day 320, not day 60 or day 30. 320 days of persistence and patience. Not perfection. I've made mistakes. I've struggled. But it's important to count the days so you can start to lay out a realistic time horizon of progress. And sure, there are things you can do to accelerate progress. You know, you can quit soda cold turkey. There are things you can do. But we also have to respect the process. So if you quit and shift everything at once, maybe you make some great progress for a while. But we all know what happens, right? We hit a slump, or we roll an ankle, we regress, and we cycle, and we repeat. So, I'm kind of tired of that process. It doesn't work for me. So, I gotta start finding a realistic time horizon and pacing to build the body I want in my early 30s, late 30s, 40s. That'll carry me into my 50s, 60s, and hopefully 70s, maybe 80s. That's when things start becoming remote. All you folk don't realize people, median death age is like late 60s, early 70s. I'm halfway done, baby. And that's not including that it's a normal distribution. People start dropping off in their 40s and 50s. Different health issues, cancer, heart disease, heart attacks, diabetes. It'll all take you out. So we gotta carve out the time to care for ourselves, challenge ourselves to get better. And then we need to be patient and persistent in the process, trusting in a better future state. Trusting that if we include just a little more movement in our day, we're better for it. If we include a little bit more strength training in our day, we're stronger for it. All these things add up. Thank God. Whew. We're approaching 3 miles. Now, this pace still feels really strong, like really fast, but I haven't really found a gait slower that feels right today. Every day is different. And the other thing, I've been spending a lot of time working on strength through mobility, just kind of a different training method. So my body is taut and limber in different places in different ways. So that's kind of the other thing I'm trying to figure out. Is like, well, is this good form now? Am I running with the right muscles, the right lean? Because I'm not 100% sure, and that's okay. But we're doing really, really well. And to hit 3 miles is a huge, huge deal. So we're gonna celebrate it. We'll hit it at about that white and red sign, the farther one by the tree. And then all we gotta do to get 7 miles is stretch it 0.5. How is that miles? So we don't have to worry too much. Let's go. All right, that should be 3. Yeah, 2.99 miles. All right. Here's the tricky part. Tricky part here is be like, we start to get into the posture of y'all watch Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is so good. 10 out of 10 recommend. It starts a little slow, really picks up. The last season's debatable. Let's breathe for a minute. Let's control breathing. Anyway, referencing Parks and Rec, at this point in the run, because we just hit last week's turnaround of 3 miles, which is a 5K, that little mentality of treat yourself starts showing up. It's like, oh, why don't you hit another gooey packet? Why don't you slow down? Let's walk. You know what? We'll have a little bit extra time in the morning routine. Why don't you just turn it back at 3? 6 miles is still good. Or why don't we start the walk trottle, the walk run of doom all the way back? It's like, all these tiny little treat yourself moments start perking their little heads at around 3 miles. And we coolly, casually are like, no. It's like Ben Wyatt. He doesn't understand the concept. Treat yourself. Thinks it's really dumb. He's super judgy about it. What is it? Tom? I forgot Tom's last name. Tom keeps pushing it. He's all over. And finally he treats himself and buys like a Dark Knight costume. And they immediately start judging him, and they're like, it's hilarious. Come on. So, because that treat yourself is right on the corner of our mind, what we're gonna do is breathe. But as we get close to 3.5 miles, we should be up near that awesome blossom over there. We're gonna speed up a tiny bit rather than slow down. We're gonna round 3.5 a little aggressively in the turnaround. We're gonna hold that pace for, I don't know, 0.05 miles. Like, not far. It's just to kind of juice us into the transition. And then what we're gonna do, drop back into this pace, hold it out through the 3 mile marker back there. And when we hit that 3 mile marker, it's technically we're at 4 miles out of 7. Psychologically, that's a really good place to be. So then we're gonna keep running, hopefully, but hit a gooey packet. So it's almost like we're telling ourselves, hey, just a little push and you get a treat. But the treat is fuel and speed for the run. Whereas ideally, we would want to stop, walk, take the gooey packet, get some water, do a bathroom break. Like, you start stacking all these things. This morning, we're not about that. We ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. We gotta run. We got places to see. So this is close to 3.5, I think. The garden's a little farther ahead, so I'm gonna check distance here, but try not to get demotivated if it's farther up, which psychologically, that's also hard. Let's see. Yep, 3.4, so keep pressing it up. It's not that far, but it's not that close. Keep my core tight, keep my lean, keep my shoulders back, keep kicking behind me, stay disciplined with the form. Oh man, those are gorgeous up there. That'd be really sweet to run under. But stairs, no thank you. No thank you. Actually, this whole road has them up on the top deck, which is really neat. Okay, okay. Keep it up, keep it up. Breathe. Treat yourself to health and wellness, a fortified mind, an enduringly strong body as you hit middle-aged. Epic. Couldn't be happier. Alright. At the stairwell, I'll check distance again. We should be, I think, at 3.48. See how much of a robot I am. Oh, keep it up, keep it up. Pace is definitely petering, which is normal. It's normal, it's hard. Yeah, because we're near the flower bed, so let's see. Oh, we passed it. All right, turn it back. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, we get a beautiful sunrise today. So we're gonna hold this out. We're a little quicker right now. Striding out. We're gonna hold this out halfway to that tower, and then we're gonna drop into a more regulated pace and run that out for 0.57 miles. A little bit more. A little bit more. Actually, let's go. Let's go to the stairwell. And let's trust our ability to get breathing back under control. We're pushing 4 miles here, friends, so it's getting really tough now. It's a long way to move 300 pounds. Looking at about 7 kilometers. Come on. And once we get to the stairs, we'll drop back into our half marathon pace. Okay. Caution, you're going too fast. Slow it down. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. So we're gonna lock this in. Let me breathe real quick. Double breaths. With a hold. Brutal. Brutal, brutal. Alright, so we're gonna hold this to the train bridge. Then we're gonna hit another gooey packet for energy. That'll be our second. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Brutal run today. Good run. Challenging. It's been quiet. Besides my ASMR breathing. Right in your ear. Gross. Okay. Let's go. We're definitely getting sore. Our stride is both shortening in length and cadence. It's decreasing in speed. So things are becoming a bit more labored at this point in the run, which is expected. I mean, we've gone no stops for almost 4 miles. We're probably at 4.75. Sorry, 3.75 miles. We still got a ways to go before we're home, so psychologically though, it's really good to be pushing towards over halfway, because it starts to make the rest of the run feel smaller or more attainable, as long as we can continue to lock in a reasonable pace, reasonable form. Once we drop off into the walk jog territory. It's like no man's land. We know we'll get out of there, but it's a battle. And honestly, it becomes harder than it needs to be, right? If we can just be smart, throttle our pace, breathe, keep rechecking form, this is the best way to finish. Even if it's uncomfortable, it's sustainable with the right attitude. If we chase a feeling, we're really embracing a worse level of suck long term. And the same can be said for exercise in general. If you don't do it, your body breaks down. You get all these injuries, you get immobile. It just becomes something you don't want. But saying yes to momentary discomfort for sustained, say like health and wellness, that's always a hard trade-off. Every day it's a hard trade-off. It doesn't come easy for anyone. And unfortunately, our culture, at least from a Western context perspective, values easy, convenience, quick fixes, like all the things that fitness is not. All the things that lead us on a path towards medication and surgery. And I'm not saying we shouldn't use those things at the proper time. At the proper time, they totally make sense. And some people have iatrophobia, which is just like fear of the healer, fear of doctor. You know, and then they don't get preventative maintenance and die of breast cancer. You know, so it's like you gotta navigate some of those trade-offs in the journey. Whew. At this bridge, this should be 4 miles. Yep, technically we're over 4 miles, so la-di-da. Let's get our second gooey packet so we don't die. Let's see what it is. What's the flavor of the day? Oh, strawberry banana. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hate this. I'm gonna try to keep pace while I do this with an uphill. This is gonna be bad. Terrible. It just clogs your throat. It's so bad. Nobody likes those things. Here comes a hill. Oh, yay. Lean into it, Joe. I say that, and my body, like, immediately leans out of it. Okay. My hands are all sticky and gross. A gooey packet. I'm gonna touch my phone. Gross. Alright. Let's power up. Woo! The important thing here is to keep breathing. When you're winded and you've been at it for a while, and then you hit a hill or an obstacle, it's really easy to kill all your momentum and like stop. So what you have to do is kind of set smaller targets. So doing the hill increments, breathing through that range. And if it's an uphill, I will typically shorten my stride a little bit, drive with my butt, hold my core, lean a little more, but I gotta breathe. And the most important thing is at the peak, at the summit, when that strain is lifted off, we naturally tend to overcorrect and drop out of our pace, or drop into a walk. So the trick is to try to drop right into half marathon pace and lock it and breathe to recover. Because if you train long distance the way that I do, our goal is never speed. It's always distance. So in order to go to the distance with variations in terrain, we toggle speed by controlling the length of our gait or stride, and we use breathing as a tool for control. Now on a downhill like this, I actually open my stride just a little bit. But the hard part on a downhill is we tend to open our stride while leaning back to kind of put on the brakes. I like to try to jump off the ground, leaning forward, so I can capture that downhill momentum. But depending on how long, yes, brakes become necessary. But if it's just this little bridge and down to the river, we can kind of let that open up, steal that momentum, and go. Now what's nice is our halfway mark today was 3.5 miles. We then ran back to the 3-mile mark, which put us at 4 miles. Once we get down to OG-san, that guy down there, that'll put us at our 2.5-mile marker, which is really 4.5 miles complete. So we're making really, really, really good progress, honestly. We've held a pretty pure 15 lateral discomforts. There we go. It seems like the whole system's finally locking in, starting to pull as one unified team. At the end of the downhill. Without gozaimasu. So we're at 4.5 miles in. So pushing. Pushing about 7.5, 8K right now, kilometers. We're at the point in the run, just like any point in the run, where it's not necessarily fun. It's something. Yeah. We're still moving, we're still grooving, holding a pretty aggressive pace. Still breathing, still talking. How gets that on? Man, come on. Gotta keep pushing. How gets that on? Head games are showing up, man. All kinds of head games. Oh, you're a little sore. Oh, you want to open up your hamstrings? Oh, why don't you just walk? Walking's not the devil, okay? Walking is a very good tool to use for long distance training. I'm on day 320. I still walk, but I can tell right now, walking would be momentary pleasure, long-term discomfort. Really, what we gotta do is do the work to breathe. Get control. Big thing here, get the mindset right. We're not gonna be done in 5 minutes. We have just over 2 miles left at a 15-minute mile pace. That's 30 minutes left, not 5. So we gotta lock in our mindset towards completion, because right now our run is incomplete and we haven't yet reached the edge of what we're capable of. We've definitely challenged ourselves and we've definitely shown up for the last 4.5 miles, but we're not at the point of completion, which means we should be able to press on, should be able to control our breathing, hold our core tight, lean forward, land with our feet under our center of mass, and push off one after the other for another 30 minutes. But it's a mindset thing right now, at least for me. Oh my gosh, shoot. We've kind of been out here for a while. Yeah. Yes, we have. We've been out here for quite a while. Well, that doesn't equate to being done. We've just completed those foundational blocks of what we're building towards. We gotta stack up 4 more blocks, each block being 0.5 miles. We're just under a kilometer. Gotta stack them one by one and then marvel at what we've built. It's too early to walk or sit and marvel. For today, Joe. Injured hamstring, Joe? Yes. Walk, recover, be safe. Yes, I'm on my way back. I'll arrive around 7. So, we gotta keep plunking along. Alright? My wife just sent up the bat signal. It's time to be a dad, but we just hit the mile 2 marker, which means if we ran all the way to mile 2, then out to 2.5, then out to 3, then out to 3.5, then back to 3, that would have been 4 miles. And then ran from 3 marker to 2.5, that would be 4.5 miles. And if we ran from the 4, 3, 2.5 to the 2 mile, that would be 5 miles. Yeah, there we go. Easy math. All right. I'm just playing. But in all seriousness, wow. Wow, challenging run this morning. Now, I got pretty much got my legs locked into the journey here, which is great. Appreciate that. Upper back and shoulders. That's actually been an area where I'm just trying to figure out posture. And my lower back has a slight twist that we're also working on. So, definitely challenging. Let's breathe. I can tell my pace is getting impatient. It's in the pull the band-aid off mode. And I'm like, oh, not yet. Not yet. We still have discomfort left. We still have some journey left. So, gotta level those expectations a little bit. Now, friends, if you're hanging out, the GoPro will die at some point. Hopefully, I won't. And I'll make it the rest of the way. But at this point in the run, trying to stop and change a battery and reconnect to live, it's just gonna take every last bit of momentum I have. So rather, I'm gonna try to run all out, and when the live is dead, it's dead. Gotta keep pushing though. Definitely feeling it. Head game. That's all it is. It's a head game for me. Based on how trained up I am. Oh, it's head game. I gotta win. Gotta tell ourselves we've run 7 miles before. We've run 8. Heck, we've done 9, 10, 11, 12. Heck, if we needed to run a half marathon today to save our children, we would do it. It would take us a while, but we would complete it. So why won't we complete the track laid out before us? I need to do the visualization game. The visualization game is where you start your run in your head, like where your very first steps began, and you literally visualize everything you've seen what you've done, how you felt during it, what you accomplished, and you kind of withdraw into your mind palace, to quote Sherlock. Yeah, so like I remember locking my bike up, plugging in my pocket Wi-Fi, getting my GoPro pulled out, starting it live on my phone, saying good morning, it's 5 a.m. Today it's 58 degrees, just about 15.2 degrees Celsius. We're gonna run 7 miles in Tokyo. Let's go. I'm gonna pop you on my head. And I popped my little community on my head. And we started plunking along. We crossed the little mini bridge over the river. Man, that crane's so far away. That's what we're trying to get to. Cross the little mini bridge. And then we ran along some of the super ritzy houses. One of them had a yellow Maserati. I still want to know what those people do for a living. And we kept plunking along. We were super nervous about today's workout. A lot of fear, a lot of insecurity. Our lower back on the right side was a little tight when we started, and now it's loosened up quite well. And so anyway, we got to our first stairwell that looks out over this big busy road. Ran up the stairs, no problem. It was actually a good time to lock in our form. So we locked in our form. Ran across the top, looked off to the left, and we're like, hey, look, that's our thumbnail image. We're actually working on running right back to that location, step by step. So, ran across the bridge, ran down it, picked up a little bit of momentum, running down a hill towards our big, ugly stairwell. We don't really like that stairwell. It's not so kind to us. But we ran down it, get down to the river, start jogging around it. It was still dusk at the time, so very nice atmosphere overall for us to start plunking along little by little. Then we made it out past this big, beautiful cherry blossom. Wow, the crane decreased in size by half. So, it must be halfway there. Ran past the cherry blossom, ran past the wrestling mat, over this road, popped out by the crane, started running down this trail. And right around here, and maybe up there, we hit the 1 mile mark. And 1 mile is always a pretty key marker for us because it helps us decide, where's this run going today? Like, are we gonna be able to run our intended distance safely? Or do we need to start modifying pace, doing some walk jog, getting some stretching in, maybe rehab something, and turning back? And at a mile in, lower back still felt twisted. Right shoulder was also quite grumpy, which is the one I've been rehabbing, a shoulder rotator cuff issue. But at a mile, we were like, you know what? Let's keep plunking along. Let's give it a go. Let's see, right? Let's see is really an important mindset with long distance running. It's not full resolve, it's not full commitment. It's more of what I would call an exploratory goal, okay? Which means, like, you're helping face some of that perfectionism and just saying, let's explore in the direction of progress and see where we can end up. So at a mile, we kind of hit this moderate level of resolve. We're like, okay, let's step out on our body. And actually, I noticed the pace picked up a little bit. Form still seemed relatively solid, you know. And we just started plunking along on course. At that point, we had some company on the live. Your mom popped in. It's actually, his name is Your Mom. It's funny. We chatted. He was encouraging. And then he left. We started to approach the 2 mile marker. It's interesting because we don't really have a lot of markers between the 1 and 2. We're just not very aware in that space. It's tricky. So we started plunking along, started kicking butt. I worked up towards 2. And that's when we started hitting this idea of like, let's get it. We started the race on time. We got out all right. We're out on the move. Like, let's make it work. How good that was. And so from 2 miles to 2.5, that was actually a very, very fast transition. I mean, we didn't even really feel that. And then we started building up from there. We might be dying. I'll see. We started going from 2.5 miles. We're at the base of the bridge. We're visualizing what we've done so we can distract ourselves from what we're doing. I'd say it's kind of working. Started running up and over the blue hill as we resolved to step out as far as we could in our journey, make as much progress as we could. Really started to believe that we had the capability to get it done. By the way, friends, we just hit 6 miles, which means this GoPro's gonna turn off at any point. I'm gonna commit to finishing 7. I don't know how, but we're gonna try. Let's see. But we run up and over the bridge. We get from 2 to 2.5. It got us to the base of the bridge, which was pretty sweet. And then from the base of the bridge, running up that sucker. Oh man, we got really winded from that. That was really rough. But we did our breathing, so let's breathe. Did our breathing. Equalized. We ran down the bridge and we hit our 3 mile marker. No problem. Kept going. Kept plunking along. Little by little, we made progress until eventually we got close to the flower field. We found out we actually overshot it by a fair percentage. Turn off my Wi-Fi. Overshot it by fair percentage, we made it up to like 3.57 miles. And then we checked our phone and we're like, oh shoot, we made it. Whew. Stairs. Where are we? We're fading. Oh, we're gassed. We're so gassed. Then we hit 3.5 miles. We turned it back. And on that turnaround, whew, we hit that pace pretty hard, friend. We turned around like we meant it. And start running off towards the 3 mile marker. How excited. They're running off towards that big 3. How excited. We're making great progress. And then from that 3 mile marker, it's 4 miles. Who would have guessed it? And then we hit our gooey pack in. It was strawberry banana. It was disgusting. I don't want to run. That's where we're at right now. Come on. And we ran up the bridge. Really worked to try to control breathing, keep everything moving. Ran across the bridge, hit the 2.5 mile marker. So we've passed the turnaround. See how I could do this? Like, we've been at it for a mile, retracing our steps. But I wanted to be done way back. It's a weird trick. It half works. Still sucks the whole time. But at the 2.5 mile marker, which was 4.5 miles, we were really feeling quite fatigued at that point. Workout, it's definitely real, definitely hurting, definitely not a good time, but we kept plunking along little by little, doing everything we could do to talk, stopping every little trick we know to keep fighting, every form check, breathing trick, mental check, all of it, just to keep ourselves moving from A to B without fail. And eventually when we hit the 2 mile marker, we were hurting and we weren't really sure how we were gonna do it because it felt so darn far out. So we're like, you know what, it's time. It's time to retrace our steps. Time to dissociate from the path a little bit. Our bodies got some safe form locked in. We just got locked in to the journey, and we started reliving our run from the very beginning. Started visualizing, plugging in our pocket Wi-Fi, putting the battery in our GoPro, saying hi to everybody. You see what I did there? You can literally keep looping it until you never actually catch yourself, and then surprise, surprise, you're done. Stairs of doom. And walk with good form. But this is brilliant form. Core is locked in. Breathing. Shoulders rolled back. Back taut. Squeezing the glutes. Don't get lazy. Lean into every step. Delight in the distance traversed. Different kind of work here. You saw that collapse, right? I was like, oh, frick. Let me just lean on this rock and die. We're gonna work on long, athletic strides with our feet landing in front of our center of mass, which fires up the hamstring. We're gonna try to keep our pace walking up this hill and up the next flight of stairs. Dude, that was hard work, man. What a battle of a run that was today. We're still in the workout. This is still burning. This is still taking intention for sure. Our pace today. Our pace kicked ass. Mine, specifically, left half of it out on the trail. Breathe. So we're still fully gassed. But that visualization activity, it's something you can try when you run. It doesn't always work. I kind of use it as like a survival crutch. And if you loop it too many times, you start to feel psychotic. So be careful with it. But I used to do it when I would actually run long distance and track. I'm gonna hit a deadlift really fast. Oh yeah, toit. I feel like the one drug dealer in Breaking Bad. He's like toit. I can't remember his name. Nacho? Is it Nacho? But the visualization activity is really, really helpful. It can normally stretch you, depending on how good you are at it, how often you use it. You can normally squeak out another mile or two. And I normally save it for like the last quarter lap if needed. I don't use it every time for sure. Especially like if I have community chatting with me, I could dissociate on just answering questions while trying to breathe. Let's do another deadlift. Whew. Whew. There we go. But it's really helpful. And by the way, the GoPro is definitely gonna die really soon. So just in case, check out our profile. There's lots of new videos under shorts and long form content. Feel free to explore. one-on-one with the Pretentious Engineer. Got a new podcast out on Asian spirituality. But when I would run the mile race, it's 4 laps around the track. Normally the first one you can run, your lungs are busting, it's uncomfortable, but you can normally find some resolve in it. By the way, that's your thumbnail image. It's not clickbait, we run past it every time. But the first mile you can, or the first 400 meters, you can normally push pretty well. And then working on your second lap, psychologically you get this boost, at least I did, because you're pushing towards halfway done. It is the third lap, in my opinion, that is the hardest. You always have a natural desire, at least I do, to drop off pace, because it's like you're feeling all the discomfort. You've been at this thing at this point for like, I don't know, 4 minutes of full go. Lungs are burning, legs are aching, everything hurts, and you just want it to be over. And you know, you can feel the work you put into the first half, but the second half feels so far away. So it's normally somewhere within the third lap that sometimes I would do a visualization. So while I'm running and breathing and pushing, I'd start visualizing lining up at the start, looking at all my competitors that I know would beat me because I was big and slow, how I felt, how I was thinking, what I resolved to complete. By the way, friends, congrats on 7.02 miles. You stuck it out, you got it. There's our Maserati. It's not ours. It's like someday. I was like, maybe, I don't know. I'd rather get a nice camera so I can make you all better content. But and start that visualization just so it could help me dissociate from some of the momentary discomfort. And it kind of is like a gratitude exercise, like celebrating what you showed up to do. And eventually, when that exercise of replaying the first 2 laps caught up to me near the end of the third lap, at that point I'd start, you know, rounding halfway through that last lap, and you can see the finish, and that would pull me to completion. So it's just one of those exercises you can do. Wow, I can't believe we made it. Where are we on battery? Oh yeah, we're very dead. So